Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our program titled Vermilion Advantage Members Save with Total Energy Solutions and Procurement. My name is Carrie Shepard, Marketing Analytics Manager for APPI Energy, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Please note that all participant lines are muted. You may submit questions anytime during the session by using the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. Our presenter today is Carolyn Johnson, Senior Energy Consultant with APPI Energy. Joining us as well this morning is Vicki Hogan, President and CEO with Vermilion Advantage. Welcome, Vicki. Let's get started.
Good morning. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce our presenter today, Carolyn Johnson. APPI has been our endorsed energy consultant since 2007 to help members like you save money and create budget certainty for your business. Yes, they provide electricity and natural gas procurement, but this year they are rolling out the Energy Solutions Division for efficiency projects and improved sustainability. I hope you all enjoy the program and look forward to any and all of your feedback.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Carrie, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of our Vermilion Advantage Energy Solutions webinar. On today's deck, we have our first slide, and our first slide is a map of the United States, and it depicts every state that is currently deregulated for electricity and gas. As you can see here, Illinois is highlighted in green. It is actually a state that is deregulated for both electricity and gas, as you can see from the ledger here below. And why we highlight this is because we want members to realize that even if you have locations in multiple states, such as Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, we can work with you for gas in Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio, but only for Illinois and Ohio, we can focus on electricity procurement. You're going to also notice that there is a little variety to the California and the Michigan market highlighted in gray. That's because recently those two states, within the past 2 or 3 years, have actually re-regulated to a point where only customers that are currently on competitive supply contracts can continue shopping. And we'll continue to monitor those conditions and make our customers aware of any newly deregulated states or changes to the California or Michigan market. Next, we have a slide depicting the volatility of the market. So the top right-hand corner slide is actually a wholesale electricity market for the PJM region that encompasses 15 states. We also have a MISO grid that we are also working on to be able to show specific to Ameren customers their volatility in the market. But as we look at the electricity wholesale settlements, this is a 10-year caption depicting pricing all the way back to February of 2009. We can see up until, February of 2014, the polar vortex that we saw that winter, we had minimal market volatility and market speculation. And then lo and behold, we had the polar vortex of 2014, early 2015, where we saw extreme spikes to the market. This in itself had a negative trickle-down effect to the market where there is a component to all electricity customers. They're all-inclusive fixed price, which is capacity. So the capacity markets had to be re-auctioned. Some additional capacity funds had to be put into the market to ensure that when we have these high spikes, that there is going to be enough electricity at all times flowing into the market, and also spark some additional capacity funding through demand response programs calling on those larger manufacturers that have essentially entered into the program to be willing to go offline in the event that we have these extreme spikes, in addition to the newly auctioned capacity markets. Here recently, you can see that going into the winter of 2018, early 2019, we had some additional market speculation. Forecasters were predicting an abnormally cold winter. The bulk of it was supposed to be in the February-March timeframe. Even though we've had, winter bearing down on us this season, we've seen minimal actual volatility to the market. We also want to highlight the correlation between electricity and gas pricing. As you can see, the movement to the natural gas market, there is a close correlation, and we do reference natural gas pricing in addition to straight procurement for natural gas when we talk about electricity pricing because of the strong correlation. So our relationship with the Energy Research Council, this is proprietary to the market. Our relationship started approximately 3 years ago. Dr. Jim Moore heads up the Energy Research Council. The Energy Research Council utilizes APPI's energy procurement pricing that we receive on a daily basis. They upload these pricing data points into their system so that we are able to provide customers with benchmarking. The benchmarking can be historical pricing, looking back in the market 2-3 years ago when we first started our relationship, to actually showing customers how suppliers are pricing those 1-, 2-, 3-year contracts going forward. That forward contract depiction is proprietary to the market, and we share that with our customers to be able to so that our customers can have evidence of why they made that decision, when they made it, and this is for how long we made the decision for, because of the supplier pricing in our specific market. We can analyze competitive suppliers. We do, ERC uploads all of the supplier pricing. So whether it be the specific supplier that we're recommending for your specific contract, or we're looking at all of the suppliers, it really gives a good insight to our customers as to why are we reaching out to you now, and why is now a good time to lock in that contract, and for how long. It's a justification. This is another demonstration of the price benchmark trends that we're able to provide to customers behind the specific utility, Ameren. As you can see, the price trends go all the way back until April 2017, when we first started collecting that data from those suppliers. You can see how the 12, 24, 36-month contract has been priced by suppliers over the last 2 years, actually almost 3 years. And you can see that at any given time, that 3-year price may be a little bit lower as compared to the 1- and 2-year price. It would be specific to your own your own company industry and how you're utilizing that electricity load to your specific pricing, but this gives you an idea of the industry trends. Our procurement process, we start off by evaluating and discussing procurement with our customers. There is a very simple process whereby we have a standardized letter of authorization. We call it the Utility Usage Authorization Request Form. This is simply requesting the last 12, 24 months worth of usage history from our utility so that we can formulate that into a competitive RFP that is specific to your load and how you're utilizing electricity, and ultimately is going to provide that supplier with a gauge on how to price you and the trends and forecasts for the 1, 2, 3, maybe even a 4 or 5 year agreement. In the industry, we like to point out to customers that there could be as many as 350 to 400 suppliers across the industry. And these are for every state, whether it be electricity, natural gas deregulation, lighting retrofits. In the industry, we have only vetted and approved 36 suppliers. So just as the Vermilion Advantage does their vetting and approval process on the member benefits, we also do our frequent vetting and approval process on our suppliers. We will bring on new suppliers and we will drop off some suppliers that aren't performing so well. We just want to make sure that we're making the best recommendation for our customers in addition to the pricing contracts. We'd like to point out to customers that there's never an upfront cost or a fee that you're going to receive from APPI or the Vermilion Advantage for participation in our energy procurement program. Even if I show you pricing and we take you through the process, you're underneath no obligation to sign a competitive supply agreement if you feel timing is not appropriate or you're not comfortable with the terms and conditions of the agreement. With regards to the review of the pricing discovery, we'll present you with the results. Usually a typical RFP timeframe is within 5 business days. Our typical procurement evaluation is for 1, 2, 3 year pricing. In some incidents, it is actually recommended a 4 and 5 year price, with the comfortable, with the comfort level of the customer. The contract lengths and extensive data analyzing that we do is a communication process. So the contract lengths are determined based upon your individualized comfort level with competitive supply, or how long you want to set your budget. And in that instance, we can help you analyze that data and help you maintain that budget, perhaps for a 1, 2, 3 year time frame if you have to produce a budget in your monthly or annualized meetings. Negotiation of the contracts is something in depth that we do on your behalf. If there are any terms and conditions within that supply agreement that are completely unacceptable to your business practice, we serve as your liaison back and forth between your company representing you to that supplier, and back and forth. The communication stays open so that we know that you are comfortable 100% with the terms and conditions of the agreement. Next, we are showing the results for the actual price discovery. So after I've worked with a customer collecting their bills, 1 month's bill per account, and their utility usage authorization form, I then prepare and send the RFP over to my consulting support team. The consultant support team will do their work on the back end, preparing the RFP, sending that over to our operations. Typically, the time frame is within 5 to 6 business days, and I present these pricing options. And you can see that we do our best to cast a wide net, but to also not inundate our customers. Because imagine if you went to any given retail store and you had to look at 50 types of peanut butter. It would be very hard for you to decide what type of peanut butter is the best for my, my diet, and what type of peanut butter is going to make me happy for the next 3 years, 2 years, whatever contract length. So you can see that we've analyzed and paired against one another the supplier options, and we're focusing on either Liberty Power coming in for the 12-month contract at the lowest. And you can also see the variety between Liberty Power and EDF Energy for the 36-month price. There's almost a penny differential. These are pricing data points that we will weed out the high, and we will focus on perhaps maybe the 2 or 3 lowest suppliers when we're running that competitive RFP and asking for the refresh. To have these suppliers bid against each other and provide that data back to them is invaluable to the suppliers to win the business, and also to make sure that we're honing in on the best pricing for your specific contract. Some of the notes that we feel that are important to the industry and our customers to be aware of are what type of billing. Are you going to receive 1 bill? Or are you going to receive 2 bills? Is it preferred that you receive 1 bill from the utility and 1 bill from the supplier, or do you like that all in 1 bill? That's a conversation that you and I are going to have. In addition to what type of projects do you have planned for the future? Are there any type of projects that you have that we could participate in, or that you already have going on that are going to actually reduce your consumption for the next, for beginning in the next 2 or 3 years? Once this project is complete, we anticipate that our usage is going to decrease by 30% or increase by 40%. These are conversations that we need to have so that we ensure that we're communicating that information over to the supplier so that they are locking you into the best contract for your specific tolerance, that swing provision. Behind the scenes, once we place our customers into a competitive supply agreement, I like to tell and stress to our customers that we're not going to disappear. You're going to continue to hear from us. We have a customer service team. We have a director of customer service and 3 employees on our team. Very efficient. They ensure that your contract and the switch to the supplier is seamless. We also make sure that all tax exemptions are up to date and that the utility and the supplier are aware of those, and that you are indeed actually receiving that exemption. And if something should happen where we need to step in and file for an exemption, we'll certainly assist you in, recouping that money from the utility and or the supplier if taxes, the exemption was missed the first time. We are also, working with our customers to look continually into the future for future cost reductions, meaning that if we place you in a 3-year agreement, you're not going to hear from me, you're going to hear from me before that agreement is due for expiration. We're also, always looking out into the forward market to determine when is the best time for you, Mr. and Mrs. Customers, to start looking at your specific renewal opportunity. So those will all come from our customer service team and our marketing team as well. Our Energy Solutions division, this is a division that we are rolling out to our associations and our customers this year. We have a fully staffed Energy Solutions division performing facility audits, up to date on all the utility rebates that are available for your specific industry or type of work. And there's a whole array of energy solutions that could help your specific industry or building become more efficient through upgrading your lighting, any type of HVAC upgrades or solar projects. There's also demand response programs that I mentioned early in the event that there is an extreme event on the grid that will call on these members that have signed up in these demand response programs, and they're going to jump off the grid, either go on to backup generation or shut down. These are all available to our members through our Energy Solution Division. So by the numbers, we've been in business since 1996, and to date, we are managing slightly over 15,000 commercial and industrial accounts across the United States. We currently have those under contract. Specific to Illinois, we have 1,000 free customers accounts under contract. And that equates to a little over 10 billion kilowatt hours that we're managing, with approximately a little over 18 million decatherms. And currently we have 42 employees that are in our Salisbury, Maryland headquarters, with several employees throughout the United States as well. So at this time, this concludes my portion of today's webinar, and I'm going to turn it back over to Carrie and Vicki to see if we have any questions.
Thank you, Carolyn and Vicki. At this point, we do invite participants to ask any questions through our webcast system. If you have difficulty sending your question, please email them to cjohnson@appenergy.com, as you see there on your screen.
Carolyn and Carrie, what if a member has a supplier listed on their bill but cannot locate the agreement or know when it expires?
That's an excellent question, Vicki. So oftentimes we will start working with a customer that is unaware of a current supply agreement, and we've discovered that by review of their current bills. In the industry, there's what's called a letter of representation that we will have the member sign, and this allows us to represent the member in the supplier community, contacting that exact supplier, finding out the specifics of the agreement, finding out when it expires, the price that they locked in, when that agreement was signed, by whom, and oftentimes they will provide us with a copy of the agreement, so we can provide that as an added value, doing an extra step for our prospective customers.
Great, thank you, Carolyn. I do have another question for you. As a follow-up to that, what if the member knows that their contract does not expire until November 2020 or further out?
Great question, Gary. So along with our relationship with ERC, we have already done benchmarking behind each utility so that we as consultants know what type of market opportunities are available for 2019 and 2020, so that when we're talking to customers on the phone and they have an agreement that expires, let's say in October or November of 2020, we can talk to them about their exact start date and whether it makes sense to queue that opportunity up now, or perhaps wait a couple, maybe 2 or 3 months until the market comes back down, because we're seeing an opportunity, coming up on board in April of 2019, let's say. So we can certainly have that individualized conversation with customers and queue up that opportunity when the market opportunity makes sense.
Thank you. It looks that at this time we have no further questions for you, Carolyn. We'd like to thank everyone for participating today. A special thank you to Vicki Hogan for joining us, as well as our presenter, Carolyn Johnson. Today's program is copyright 2019 APPI Energy, with all rights reserved. This concludes today's program. You may now disconnect. Thank you.